Contract talks are beginning for Keselowski to return to Team Penske in 2022, and there will be no penalties for Noah Gragson after what happened at the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. We got quite a few NASCAR stories to discuss here today on the channel. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Let's start off with all the sponsor announcements for racetracks and title sponsors and paint scheme news as well. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into that. Let's start off with Kyle Larson's 2021 Freightliner scheme that we will see at the Bristol Dirt Racetrack. This paint scheme is not terrible in my opinion. It's not the best paint scheme, to be honest with you. I'll be honest. The Freightliner schemes are never that great. I think this is one of the better ones I've seen. I do like the blue number on the car, and I like the simplicity. It looks similar to the Ricky Hendrick kind of throwback cars that we've been seeing, but I do overall like this paint scheme a lot. Kyle Larson's been having a really good year so far, and I'm hoping that with this being the first real sponsor he's had that's not been associated with Team Hendrick, I do think that this will hopefully give Kyle Larson some good momentum, as he's arguably the favorite going into this event, hoping that this paint scheme will give Kyle Larson some really good momentum going into that event. The next sponsor announcement we're talking about is the Truck Series race for Darlington, as the title sponsor for the Truck Series race of Darlington is going to be named the Lift Kits for Less.com 200. Like that name a lot. I think it's really cool, and it'll be a great name to hear at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Truck Series. And then the final sponsor announcement we're going to talk about is the Martinsville Speedway Xfinity Series race, which will be the title sponsor is going to be named the Cookout 250. We know the Cookout is going to technically be sponsoring the Southern 500, and now they're going to be sponsoring the Xfinity Series race, which will be taking place in 2 weeks when the Cup Series heads there as well. I like Cookout, and they're stepping up to the plate and sponsoring, and really good to see Cookout as a title sponsor for the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Martinsville International Speedway. The next thing we're going to talk about is motor mounts, as according to Adam Stern, NBC Sports is placing its NASCAR America Motor Mounts call-in show on Peacock as it continues to build up its streaming service with sports content. The show will air Mondays and Wednesdays starting this evening. Now, for those who don't know, we already know that NBC Sports Network is going to be shutting down, so it looks like NBC is starting to move a lot of its sports content from that channel over to Peacock, which is the big streaming service, which you're going to have to pay to basically be able to watch that show. I expect a lot of the shows, including NASCAR America and all those shows, by the end of this year to be moved. Now, remember, none of the NASCAR races for the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and Truck Series, none of those races can be shown on Peacock according to the rules of the streaming, the package, the TV deal that we've had since 2015. They have to be shown on a broadcast, so you'll see that on NBC and USA Network as well. I would not also be surprised if they 100% don't go ahead and put a lot of the more races on NBC, the main network. But really interested in the movement. I wouldn't, like I said, practice qualifying is probably going to end up on Peacock, but I also do find it really interesting that they're starting to move a lot of their shows, and they're already starting to move them here very soon. I expect by the end of the year, a lot of the shows to be moved to the Peacock TV, the streaming service. And now we're going to go ahead and jump on to all of the stuff from Atlanta Motor Speedway this past weekend, including the Daniel Hemric and Noah Gragson stuff. We're going to talk about first of all, with Atlanta Motor Speedway, according to the GM of them, they're going to be working towards a long-term solution to ensure the grass is flush with the racing service for the July race weekend. Now, for those who don't know, if you did not watch the NASCAR Xfinity Series race, Josh Berry had a really crazy accident. He was trying to go back onto the racetrack. Looked like he was coming down pit road. He was trying to get back onto the racetrack, and he clipped the grass, and it destroyed the car. Now, of course, he jumped a little bit, but the splitter is a major issue, in my opinion, and we've been seeing over the last couple of years that racetracks have been starting to move their grass and put turf. Charlotte is a perfect example. They have turf on their racetrack, and Martinsville just recently, they're getting rid of the grass, and it looks like they're just going to have concrete right there, which I don't think is that bad. I mean, it's aesthetically pleasing to see grass on the racetrack, but it makes sense for them to remove it. I would like turf to be on the track, to be honest with you, but that is a big issue right there. But with the situation of us having the splitters right now on the racetrack, I think that they are doing the solution. Unfortunately, this solution that should never have been fixed because we never had the splitters. I think the splitters are one of the worst things that NASCAR has ever had, and I think we'd rather have splitters now, the valence. But, you know, I just don't like the splitters overall, and hopefully we don't see any major incidents. But I guess it's that solution that we're going to have, and they're going to keep cutting the grass going forward. Speaking of which, we're going to talk more about Atlanta Motor Speedway once again, as the GM, once again, I think Brandon Hutchins, actually was talking about a repave coming at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I talked about that Atlanta is really needing a repave, and it looks like that repave for Atlanta Motor Speedway is going to be coming sooner than later. According to the GM, Brandon Hutchins, he says the repave is going to be happening sooner or later. Not enough time to do for July race and take into account delays and weather. They will reevaluate, though, after July. Some wonder if new pavement should coincide with the next-gen rollout. Now, for those of you who don't know, Atlanta Motor Speedway has arguably the oldest surface on the track. They've not repaved it in 24 or 25 years. Really, since they went to the new configuration around 1996, 1997, they have not gone and repaved the racetrack. Now, they were looking at repaving the track after the 2016 Atlanta race, but there was a big pushback for that because of all the tire wear and stuff and the covers and goers in the race. But really, since that 2016 race, the racing has been going downhill in Atlanta Motor Speedway. And while I do think the package is a cost for that, and I think a lower downforce package would definitely help, a 750 horsepower package would definitely help on that front, I also do think that because of the tire wear and tires not killing, you get no tire strategy whatsoever in the race. And it is very hard to catch up to somebody and pass him. Yes, of course, like I said, you do have covers and goers. And I think Xfinity Series race and Truck Series were definitely better than, well, I would say at least the Xfinity Series race was definitely better than the Cup race. But to me, I think that, in my honest opinion, I do think that it is time to repave Atlanta Motor Speedway. Like I said, they're probably not going to have it done until 2022. I think it's very, very likely that a repave is coming as early as 2022 when the next-gen car rolls out. And we haven't really seen the next-gen car race on the mile-and-a-half racetrack, so I'm very intrigued to see how they're going to roll. We haven't seen multiple cars race, and once we're supposed to be getting the reveal of the next-gen car at some point in the next couple months. I think it's in late June, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to be getting a reveal for the next-gen car. So I'm very intrigued to see what happens. But yeah, I think it's time for Atlanta Motor Speedway to be repaved, and I'm hoping that is coming very, very soon. And now we're going to go ahead and jump on to the first of two major stories of today's episode, as we're going to talk about the situation between Noah Gragson and Daniel Hemric. It was announced early Sunday morning around 9 p.m. Central Time that Noah Gragson would not be getting penalties after Atlanta, and none of the pit crew members during the fight would be getting a penalty as well. Now, let's talk about what NASCAR ruled, and here's what Scott Miller had to say about them not penalizing Noah Gragson. He says the contact was not deliberate. He said, we reviewed the incident which occurred between the 9 and 18 cars on pit road during Saturday night's race at Atlanta Motor Speedway and met with Noah Gragson after the event. A chain reaction of events led to the 18 and 9 both overshooting their pit stalls. The 9 ended up both long and out of his pit box to the outside and needed to back up as far as possible to have any chance at fully pulling into his box. After reviewing the video, it is our judgment that the contact was not deliberate. Now, I'm going to tell you my honest opinion on the situation. I have a few problems with this overall, so I'll go over what I believe happened in the incident. So, if you watch the incident, Daniel Hemric had to basically kind of pit road, and the 99 Mason Massey was a lap down. Was really, I don't know what the spotter communication was going on there, but he started driving out when Daniel Hemric was coming out. So Daniel Hemric, unfortunately, overshot his pit stall because of that. Now, Noah Gragson, he was not very, very happy with what Daniel Hemric did, and he gave the middle finger. He had to back up a little bit, and no true was outside his pit box, so I don't think he deliberately tried to hit the pit crew, but he backed up with his middle finger out, and he backed up and basically almost hit the pit crew members and almost hit Daniel Hemric's car. I think he said he put a hole in his car, and you can tell that Noah Gragson was not happy. Right after this incident took place, Noah Gragson and Daniel Hemric got in the fight. Daniel Hemric, during when Noah Gragson had an interview with PRN, he went up to confront Noah Gragson, and there was a fight that broke up. Daniel Hemric had a pretty sweet dodge. GFC should definitely call him. And Noah Gragson threw a couple punches as well, and there's definitely some altercation that was taking place. Then in the post-race interview, Noah Gragson said, what was he mad about? And basically said that, I guess, this guy's never won a race in the top tier series. Tell me, come back to me when he won a race. That's basically what happened. So, if you wanted to give me my opinion, I think NASCAR overall made a bad call by not even giving a penalty or some sort of probation. Because in my opinion, I think Noah Gragson should at least have been put on probation for the incident that took place. And the reason I say that is he could have injured pit crew members. He really, really could have if he backed much closer, and he almost actually did. And he did not need to back up that far. NASCAR said they needed to back up as far as possible. Well, if he backs up so far, he's going to hit Noah Gragson. But he backed up and sped up in the video replay that we saw. So to me, I think Noah Gragson should have at least gotten put on probation or at least gotten a fine for what happened. I'm not saying suspend him for the incident because I don't think he maliciously tried to hit the pit crew members. But to me, it was just very, very stupid. And NASCAR should have at least given him some sort of probation for the incident because drivers should not be doing what Noah Gragson did. I thought what Noah Gragson did was really, really stupid. And I think he should have gotten in trouble for it. I don't understand. I think at this point, Noah Gragson has had a lot of problems with drivers. I do like Noah Gragson's personality. I like Noah Gragson a lot. So this is nothing against Noah Gragson personally. I have nothing personally against Noah Gragson. I like both Daniel Hemric and Noah Gragson. But to me, if I'm judging the incident that took place on pit road, I, in my opinion, would have given a penalty to Noah right there, or at least some sort of fine to Noah, because what Noah did was overall pretty stupid, and he should, hopefully, something happens. I can tell you what, though, Martinsville's in 2 weeks for Xfinity, and we're going to see some tempers flaring. I would not be surprised if some retaliation ends up taking place, similar to what happened between Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin. Just remember, Martinsville's in a couple weeks for Xfinity, and we've seen the chaos in how many drivers have been really, really angry with Noah this year. Watch Noah Gragson, because I think that there's going to be a lot of tempers flaring with Noah Gragson, and I think the Xfinity Series race just got bigger because of the tempers flaring between Daniel Hemric and Noah Gragson. I don't think Daniel Hemric's ever gotten a conflict before. So for Daniel Hemric to be that upset, I think he was more pissed off that his pit crew members were not hit right there. But yeah, that's his information on Daniel Hemric and Noah Gragson. So now we're going to go ahead and jump on to the final story of today's episode, as we're going to talk about Brad Keselowski. Roger Penske earlier today was in the media talking on Zoom about the Indianapolis 500, which there's some good news overall. They're looking at about having 175,000 fans right there. But one thing that got brought up was contract talks with Brad Keselowski, Simon Pagenaud, and Will Power, getting those veteran drivers extended. Roger Penske said today that early talks on contract extension with Brad Keselowski have begun right now, but he really didn't want to disclose the information. So early talks right now are beginning. Now remember, Brad Keselowski's contract ends at the end of this year. He last year in August signed a 1-year contract extension with Team Penske. And we were wondering if there was a chance that Brad Keselowski was going to leave the team. And there still is a chance that Brad Keselowski could leave Team Penske at the end of 2021. But there's a chance that Brad Keselowski could end up returning to Penske in 2021. It really would not surprise me one bit if Brad Keselowski was to return to Team Penske in 2022. And here's why I think that there is a good chance he'll return to the team in 2022. Austin Cindric is going to Wood Brothers next year. And there really isn't a veteran driver to go to that team right now. Yes, Joey Logano is 30 years old. He'll be 31 at the end of this year. Ryan Blaney is going to be in his upper 20s. And Ryan Blaney just won the recent race at Atlanta. But also, Brad Keselowski is a champion with the team. Logano is too. But Brad Keselowski has won a championship. And he's been very, very veteran for the series. And he's doing a really good job overall with that team to start this year. I know he had a bad week at Atlanta, but he's been overall really consistent this year. And the last couple of years, he has showed a lot of speed up to this point. And I think there's a good chance to return to team. Now, with the contract extension, if he is to return to Team Penske in 2022, I have a feeling that it's going to be a 1-year or 2-year contract extension. And the reason I say this is Austin Cindric is going to Cup full-time in 2022 with Wood Brothers. And I believe it's only a 1-year deal with Wood Brothers, if I'm not mistaken. We know Matt DiBenedetto's leaving a team for him to go into that ride. But Austin Cindric, I have a really good feeling that by 2023, I think Austin Cindric will be going full-time with Team Penske at some point. And I looked up the contract looks for Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano. And Ryan Blaney signed a 3-year extension through 2023. And Joey Logano's contract goes through the 2023 season. So those two would not be leaving the organization unless, of course, their performance went down really, really, really badly. And they were starting to perform not as good as they've been, even though they've performed pretty good so far to start this year. Both of those race car drivers. But to me, Brad Keselowski will be the person out of that organization. Now, there is a chance, though, that he may not return to Team Penske in 2022. Now, if Brad Keselowski is to leave the team, he would go somewhere else, and we'll talk about that first. But who would replace Brad Keselowski if he was to leave Team Penske in 2022? I think the only logical explanation would be Matt DiBenedetto. Matt DiBenedetto is part of the organization. He's not returning to Wood Brothers, and I think Matt DiBenedetto would be a perfect fit for the team. Matt DiBenedetto, I know he hasn't had the best year to start this year. He got a pretty solid performance in Atlanta and looked like he was going to have a top 10 run, but wasn't able to get a top 10. But he's starting to pick up the play pieces, and he's starting to have some decent performances overall. That would be who would probably end up going there because he's part of that organization, because Austin Cindric is going to be at Wood Brothers next year. I still think it's likely Keselowski's going to return, but like I said, where would Keselowski go if he was to leave Team Penske? There's 2 teams right now that I think that really could pick him. There's actually 3 teams right now I really look at. First team is Hendrick Motorsports. Not very likely, but there is a chance he goes to the 48 for Hendrick Motorsports. Alex Bowman right now only has signed a one-year contract extension last year through the end of 2021. And he's had some decent performance this year. He had his best performance of the year so far for 2021 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, running top 5 all race, ended up finishing 3rd. But he hasn't won a race up to this point this year, and he needs to sooner or later start winning races, just like Kyle Larson and William Byron have. And I think wins need to start coming, but if he starts being consistent as well, that will help him get in the plus. But there's already been 6 winners this year, so I think a win is going to matter a lot more now than it would have if guys like Michael McDowell and William Byron had not won up to this point this year. Just saying right there. If Bowman's performance does not improve, he has to start winning quite a few races. That's where Keselowski would go, but I still feel very likely that Alex Bowman is going to return to the team. Another team I'm thinking about is Seth Stewart-Haas Racing, which is a Ford organization. Stewart-Haas Racing has not been really that great this year, and Eric Almirola is a driver I think he would end up replacing, and here's why I think. Eric Almirola only signed a one-year contract extension last year, and his performances this year have not been great, and he only has 25 races this year with Smithfield, and they've been dropping their branding. I think if Eric Almirola misses the playoffs here and does not win a race this year, I think it's very likely that Eric Almirola will lead the team, and Brad Keselowski would go over to the 10 car. I know Stewart-Haas Racing is down, but the veteran experience over there, because let's be honest, Chase Briscoe and Cole Custer, they're not experienced. I think by next year they will get a lot better, and I think as the season goes on this year, I think they will also get better as well. But I do think that the young and the youth is a big, big reason why they've been struggling over there. And Brad Keselowski, if he goes to Stewart-Haas Racing in the 10 car, he could go right over there and race for them. The final team that I'm thinking about is 2311 Racing, which is very, very likely where he could end up going as well. 2311 Racing about a month ago Denny Hamlin had talked about that he is looking at potentially expanding to a 2 or extending at some point up to a 4-car operation at the end of this year into 2022, extending to a 2-car operation. Now, he would probably at first look at the drivers in the Toyota stable, guys like Harrison Burton, Brandon Jones, John Nemechek are in the Toyota stable right now. But there's some veteran drivers that are potentially on the market as well. Remember, like I said, Alex Bowman could be on the market, Matt DiBenedetto, and also Brad Keselowski. I think Brad Keselowski would overall be one of the best choices to choose for if he wants to go over to 2311 Racing, because Brad Keselowski, number one, won the championship in 2012, and he's been very, very consistent. Not only that, Brad Keselowski could go out there and mentor Bubba Wallace to become a better driver overall. And to me, I think that this could be where he ends up going. Now, like I said, I still feel very likely he's going to return to Team Penske for one more year, but it's also potential that he could leave and go to 2311. We're going to have to watch these contract talks go because free agency is starting to heat up once again, and I think very, very soon in the next couple months, once you get around to the Olympic part of the year, I think we're going to start knowing what is going to be going on with teams going forward. So, anyway, that is going to be for today's NASCAR news video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, notification on so you be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links description below for that. And comment below your thoughts on today's video. What are your thoughts about Brad Keselowski potentially returning to Team Penske 2022? And how likely do you think he will 100% return to Team Penske next year? Let me know in the comments below. And what are your thoughts about the Noah Gragson situation? Do you think Noah Gragson got let off easy, or do you think that Noah Gragson should not have gotten a penalty at all? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you like so YouTube can recommend more of these great videos out to you guys. Do that, I would greatly and truly appreciate it. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great and awesome NASCAR content. Take care, everybody.